What's good? I've been wanting to do this video, a breakdown of the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime performance. Because I'll be the first to admit, when I did my reaction to it, was my first time actually watching it. So trying to react to it and actually see it, I didn't see a lot of stuff. Kendrick Lamar's set list, me personally, I would have chose a couple of different songs. I loved the whole entire performance. I might have chose a couple of different songs, but maybe he couldn't play the songs for a reason. But then I later learned that he also owned the majority of the songs that he was playing. You feel me? So when the songs, you know what I'm saying, streams go flying back up, but he go into his pockets. And he probably had way more reasons to play those particular songs. But I absolutely love the performance. It was the greatest in history. But yeah, let's go and get into this rap philosophies breakdown, all right?
First, let's give a shout out to Kendrick for something I don't think is getting talked about enough. Yes, usually artists play their most popular songs in their catalog. Beyonce in 2016 played Crazy in Love, which came out in 2003, and Halo, which came out in 2008. Rihanna just a few years ago played Umbrella, which came out in 2008, and most of her classic songs. And what people are forgetting is that Kendrick has hundreds of timeless classics he could have easily played at the Super Bowl, arguably at the level of both Beyonce and Rihanna. But instead, Kendrick made his performance of mostly GNX songs he dropped just last year in 2024, including his hit, Not Like Us. What some might miss is that this was not only intentional from Kendrick, but also a bold, courageous, and confident move from Kendrick. Ironically, not only does this show that Kendrick is courageous, it means he's an even better and more influential performer than most because he could rock the crowd by playing songs he dropped from just last year, unlike many artists who...
Yeah, and I was talking to the guy at the barbershop, and he was telling me that that's why he think that GNX dropped so that Kendrick can have, you know what I'm saying, some a few more playable songs at the Super Bowl. But it's probably that, and also the fact that he owns more rights to these songs than he owned of the older songs. You know what I mean?
Would be of that caliber to play at the Super Bowl. I don't think they can drop songs. They can play songs they just dropped because they don't have songs like this. Kendrick turned the Super Bowl performance into culture, heart and the pulse of the ground level, a revolution disguised in performance, a call to fight the powers that be. So this is Advantage Kendrick. Ding ding. Something about Kendrick's work is so intentional and thought-provoking that it always ages so well and gets better with more viewings and listenings. Some songs off of GNX, for example, like Squabble Up, right? A lot of people, when they just heard, they weren't sure. Some people weren't sure how they felt about that Debbie sample. But as time passed and you listen to the song, it's nearly the best song on the album.
Nah, I thought that song from the sample and Not Like Us video, I couldn't wait to hear that song. That was one of the most anticipated songs. I was like, is that a whole song? And I think a lot of people felt that way. You feel me?
For me, I had to watch the Super Bowl performance over and over, and every time I caught something new and was like, this is just so good. I can guarantee this will be the most replayed Super Bowl performance ever. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this performance, let's talk a little bit about that video game controller. That video game controller...
I'm gonna be real with y'all. That video game controller, I missed that totally the first time. I didn't even see it. I just knew it was a big old... I'm like, why is damn stage so big?
Resembles the whole American game that Uncle Sam is going to talk about later, Samuel Jackson, right? The video game being played, that Kendrick and his dancers are in this simulated game. And the controller has those different buttons, right? The square, the triangle, the circle, the D-pad that controls the movement. But what some people miss is that in the middle of all those, buttons is that main stage where he glides back and forth and two groups come together and sometimes integrate with each other and clash with each other. That's the place where people in this game, in this American game, move between this and that, and they're being controlled, being confined by the rules of this game, right? That's the controller being confined, and every move is confined by that D-pad itself, by those buttons. But in the middle is where the freedom comes from, the revolution, where Kendrick, brings his dancers together and they actually start to create that revolution, to fight the power. But then Kendrick, through this performance, through the ad-libs, he's saying, and through the Samuel Jackson character, I'm not gonna play by these confines. I'm not gonna play by this American game. I'm gonna make my own rules, and I'm gonna break out of these rules, and
That's why this was more than just the set list, or were these all your favorite songs from Kendrick Lamar, because this was a statement. This was a protest. This was way bigger, and it's crazy that you could say so much in 13 minutes. This 13-minute performance had so much stuff in it. It's crazy.
Asking, and I'm calling for revolution, for people to break out of this. Now we get to Uncle Sam. Not only was this Kendrick performance bold, the messaging was just so bold, and I don't know of any other Super Bowl performance that had thoughtful messaging like this.
Uncle Sam.
Kendrick started the performance with, for the first time, a non-white, right, a black Uncle Sam, with a double entendre right in the selection, because Uncle Sam was played by Samuel Jackson. Let's give it up to Kendrick for that. Starts to perform, and Samuel, by giving you the clue into the messaging right in the first line. He yells, "Salutations, it's your Uncle Sam, and this is the great American game." The meaning is hidden right there with the double entendre right in the first line. This is not just a sports game. I'm going to expose the game being played here in America that we and you all are actually pawns of. And any Gen X, millennial, just have a lot of nostalgia over characters that Samuel Jackson has played over the years of the movies. In Django Unchained, Samuel Jackson plays Steven as that senior house slave at Candyland, wielding power over everybody else at the plantation, showing his self-serving traits and signs of manipulation. He has a near father-son relationship with the plantation owner, as it's portrayed in the movie. So,
yeah, Samuel was perfect for that role. He was perfect for that role. And he did more that I watched the Super Bowl, because I watched it many more times now. He did remind me of almost that Django Unchained character. Not because he was more of he was trying to play by the rules. Kendrick was trying to go against the grain. And you feel me? So it was like a tug of war between them two, and he was trying to tell Kendrick, hey, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Do you know how to play the game? Is you gonna play the game or is you ain't? Kendrick Lamar say, y'all stay politically correct. I'm gonna do what I did. Ain't no sympathy here. And that's what this was right here. He gonna do what he did. You feel me? Let's get it.
Certain traits and signs of manipulation. He has a near father-son relationship with the plantation owner, as it's portrayed in the movie. So with this, Kendrick has Samuel Jackson play Uncle Sam, who throughout the performance is telling Kendrick to play nice. Kind of like what Samuel Jackson does in Django Unchained to Jamie Foxx's character.
Who this on that nail?
Blueberry! Alright, that was one of my favorite movies. That movie was hilarious, bruh. That movie was hilarious. Oh my gosh, that movie was hilarious. It was a lot of the N-words in it, but that movie had me dying.
That's me. That's who the hell you calling Snowball, Pulse Boy? I'll snatch your...
So he's telling him, be nice and play and do what America likes and don't be controversial or don't do anything disruptive. Honestly, just the selection of Samuel Jackson, given the traits he was known for in the movie, pure brilliance by Kendrick. I really think it's unmatched metaphor. And that, in and of itself, says it all about the performance. What Kendrick was getting ready to do, which is he's not going to play within these lines, and Samuel Jackson just kept telling him, play the nice songs, play the good songs, and once Not Like Us plays at the end, he loses his mind. And then Kendrick started with his Body for Body, or Body's intro. We don't know yet what the name of that song is. It's from the G-Next drop. A few lines I love are, no more handshakes and hugs, the energy only circulate through us, everybody must be judged, but this time, God only favoring us. His way of saying, we are the culture, and everything goes through us. We are the fabric of America, and now we will get what we deserve, not by your hands, but through God's hands. What a
Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
and oppressed communities in America in general. This whole verse needs a video and study by itself. He says, you would not get the picture if I had to sit you for hours in front of the Louvre. You would not have a soul even if I had told you to stand next to Johnny and Q. What a great way to start this performance. Because now some people say there could be double entendre with a callback to his old group, Johnny being J-Rock, Q Schoolboy Q potentially. And then he says those great lines, the revolution will be tied. You picked the right time,
well,
wrong guy.
You picked the right time with the wrong guy. I was like, ooh.
Several potential meanings. He could be referring to politics, Drake, or himself. Meaning it's time for a revolution to take place now, but you chose the wrong person. If it's referred to politics, like you have the wrong person in office, or if it's referred to Drake, you chose Drake, but I'm the real one, that is, and I'm the one that should be selected. But I took it as he was referring to himself, meaning you don't realize it, but you chose the controversial person, the person who will actually take it to the next level, and won't necessarily play nice, and may actually free these people who are chained up mentally and metaphorically. Then people miss the revolutionary messaging right there. After this, the ladies dressed in red, which is already red being a metaphorical color for energy and danger and warning, they say slowly while moving their hands in that fighting stance, somebody better squabble up, which is an ad-lib because that's not from the original song. They're saying, let's get the revolution ready and everyone be prepared to defend, to fight, whether that's real or metaphorical. That's up to you to decide. Then all the dancers dressed in red, blue, and white come out of the GNX car. Just personally, I don't think it was.
Yeah, when I seen that, I'm like, damn, how many people gonna come out? I did not notice at my first reaction. But when I watched it back, I'm like, damn, how many people gonna come out that car was crazy. I'm like, that car had to lead to underground, right? They couldn't have been packed with that bug like that.
It's so dope how all of them just keep coming out of the car, coming from this like one confined spot and just spreading out. And they start dancing to the song. Then what people may not see is that the blue dancers go off screen. The red dancers are all women at that moment. The dancers dressed in white are all men. And all the dancers in red are in full motion, while the male dancers dressed in white are just sitting, sort of clapping their hands. Then the dancers dressed in blue come out and intertwine with the dancers in red in a streamlined marching stance. But then as the female dancers in red, as they integrate, they go back into that fighting stance. This cluing foreshadow for revolution, getting ready for a fight. And right when that happens, you hear Samuel Jackson notice and start yelling, no, 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 too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. Mr. Lamar, do you really know how to play the game? Then tighten up. He's telling him, get back on track.
Yeah.
Don't lose yourself. Don't try to go too far. Again, bringing up that this is an American game and a warning.
Samuel said, nigga, you're doing too much. You might want to reel it back a little.
Play in the lines nicely. So another warning from Uncle Sam, as if it's
look how little Kendrick look
to the weaker people. Warning, Dot, to play in the lines nicely.
Why Kendrick look so damn? Is these niggas 7 feet tall, or is that just like why Kendrick look so damn little in that photo, bruh? Right here, he look tiny as hell.
So another warning from Uncle Sam, as if it's the warning from the powerful to the weaker people to watch themselves and play with the lines. Then, because of Uncle Sam's warnings, Kendrick continues on and plays two of his quote-unquote safe classics, Humble and DNA. So then Kendrick plays his hit song, Humble, and you see the dancers dressed in red, white, and blue intertwined, representational.
Yeah, I love that the Humble song, the Humble little performance when he did Humble. That it was hard to me.
Of the American flag, but the fabric is made up by the dancers bobbing their heads and raising their fists in the air throughout the dance. And Kendrick, he's right in the middle. The performance of Humble was honestly extraordinary. I love dances, and again, it gives us that revolutionary vibe. And then Kendrick goes on to play DNA, another safe song, a song that everybody knows. And can we just give credit to Kendrick's breath control? It's just amazing. But one thing unnoticed here is after Samuel Jackson gives him the warning and he does the safe songs, right at this break, he's running from one side to the other side of the stage with the other group. And those dancers start doing a little more hostile, defensive type dancing. Almost like he's calling for or transitioning from this side to another more aggressive side. And he starts a part of DNA at that point where he says, I know murder, conviction, burners, boosters, burglars, ballers, dead, redemption, right? That aggressive part of the songs. I wish I was fed. Forgiveness. I came from the bottom from this American game, but now I overcame it. I'm going to this side now, from this group to this side, and I urge a revolution so others can wake up and overcome it. Then he leads us into the first rap diss, Euphoria, which came right, which is so unexpected.
I was so excited when he played Euphoria. That beat switch in Euphoria. Oh my God, it just gave me chills. I was so excited when he performed Euphoria. And I was like, he bringing out the disses.
We didn't even know he was going to play Not Like Us. But then to give us Euphoria, it really set the tone. And I think this was a way of not letting people down, because while Not Like Us is the winning rap diss, a lot of people love Euphoria. And I'm one of them. I did not expect it to get any play at this Super Bowl. Then he takes you to Man at the Garden. I love this rendition of Man at the Garden. But it's stylized, right? And maybe some don't notice that he starts with the most aggressive part of the song that speaks on more of his woke self. Keep these away from me, keep my essence contagious, that's okay with me, I burn this down, don't you play with me, I'm crashing out right now, no one's safe with me, I did it with integrity, they still try hate on me, more blood be spilled, it's just paint to me, do y'all want the shameless me or the famous me? He goes to the really strong parts of the line, even though that song has a lot of affirmation, that's the revolutionary part of the song. And the guys behind him are cheeky smiling, if you notice, with gold grills and jewelry, which feels like Kendrick just having what can be seen as like the stereotypical view of the boys from the streets behind you. But this can be represented by Kendrick showing the heartbeat of the streets or the soul of the city. We everyday people, look where we came from and look at where I'm taking y'all now. And he ends it with this line that some can say is actually aimed at Drake, or really anyone. Tell me why you think you deserve the greatest of all time. Why do you deserve it? Now Samuel Jackson gets a little pissed again, right? After that little Man at the Garden rendition, the little stylized, ad-lib different rendition, he says, you're bringing out your homeboys? The culture cheat code, but then says, scorekeeper, deduct one life. And this deduct one life plays into the game and the video game controller that was being formed by the dancers, or the controller where the dancers are actually being confined by. But also introduces the threats of violence, because he doesn't say deduct 1 point. He says deduct one life, which can be a symbolic threat that if you don't play within our rules, you will suffer. In a video game, you usually have X amount of lives to play, right? And here Uncle Sam is saying, I took 1 away from you. You're not playing by my rules. Ooh. So again, we see Kendrick.
Deduct 1 life. Boy.
Trying to capture and take his audience from the formalities and following the rules outside the lines to freedom, honoring yourself, and doing what you think is right. And right after that, he takes us into Peekaboo, a more gritty, raw song than his safe song. I know I wasn't the only one who went crazy when he played Peekaboo, because I always said, why is this song so underrated in the G-Next conversation? That's been one of my favorites on the album since it dropped. And of course, he's playing it because it's more against the grain, leading the audience slowly into Not Like Us. The dancing here is phenomenal, and we see the dancing inside the D-pad of the video game controller, which is interesting because the D-pad in the controller is what controls the movement in the game, right? But of course, the movements are controlled by the game itself, which is another hidden metaphor that Kendrick is starting to play inside the game controller, but still confined by it, but will soon break out of it and go into that center stage. So right when the ladies have that smooth sound reminiscent to Pimp a Butterfly, where they flirtatiously say, peekaboo, I won't say it like that properly, but getting Kendrick's attention. And again, here's where he teases Not Like Us, saying, I want to make a move. I want to play their favorite song, but you know they love to sue. And here was the first time we see the clear,
but you know they love to sue,
reference to
somebody go check on
Drake. Nothing here, because we all know Drake is suing UMG for defamation over Not Like Us. And for Kendrick to actually make this call out, how bold, and saying, I'm not playing with your rules. I'm not playing in those confined things. I'm gonna say and do what I want. And we all know that once he said this, it was game over. We knew what Kendrick was doing here. Teasing the song, teasing the beat, teasing the references. I just lost my mind here because I said, damn. He's not only gonna do the song, right? He's not only making clear references, he's gonna actually make this a thing, right? He's gonna play into it. I know Kendrick must be tapped in because of all the controversy, because there was already a little controversy as to whether he was gonna play the song or not. And he played into that, and that made it interesting. And that's something I think people don't take away enough of from Kendrick. That he holds his ground and uses the shots against him for more fuel. And then he looks with that angry look into the camera. Yeah, that song, it's over. The women appear scared, they start acting, but then he says, I'll slow it down, and then he takes him to Luther. But then we hear Samuel Jackson yell, oh, you done lost your damn mind. I lost it when I heard that, I was dying. Uncle Sam is on his ass, right? He's like, be careful. Kendrick then goes back into some safe songs, right? Again, playing into the American game. He does the nice slow songs with SZA. He plays Luther and All the Stars. And in Luther, he plays in the triangle. So you see the dancers, he's taking people into the confined parts of the video game controller, the confined parts of the game. In Luther, he plays in the triangle, if you notice. And then when he goes to All the Stars, he moves to the circle. So taking people to different parts of the controller. And we have to say, how amazing was SZA's vocals? Like, I know we were arguing, watching, like, this is just too perfect. Is this a background track or is this SZA?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, if that's her live, it's crazy.
Still don't know. I'm just not that good at it. But to me, it does seem like it was SZA. Y'all tell me in the comments below. But it seems like it was SZA live vocals. And if it was, either way, it's beautiful. But her voice is just so angelic. Then after these two safe songs, Uncle Sam, Samuel Jackson comes back saying, that's what I'm talking about. Reminding him. That's what America wants. And he says,
good boy. Here you go. Play something soft. We want to hear the melodies. We don't want to hear that.
Almost there. Don't mess this up. And boom. You hear the Not Like Us beat drop. And Samuel Jackson makes a mad face. Then you hear some of the strongest ad-lib lines in the performance by Kendrick, where he says, I'm gonna take it further, right before he gets ready to play Not Like Us, right? He starts it off, and he stands in front of the female dancers and says, it's a cultural divide, I'm gonna get it on the floor. 40 acres and a mule, this is bigger than the music. They tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding to the back like, wow.
Boom, boom, boom.
Are just
Boom, boom, boom.
revolutionary lines. And I think with the people saying, why did he play Not Like Us, right? Like Charlamagne the God was trying to say, he shouldn't have played Not Like Us, give him Drake.
Charlamagne don't know what the hell he talking about.
I'm Kendrick. I sat here and I made some of the best music. I've made timeless classic music for the culture. I watched all the fakes and phonies. Kiki, get all this recognition, and now it's back full circle to me.
I don't hate on that Kiki. Did you love me though? Because I was right along with the Kiki. Do you love me? Are you writing? Do you know?
Me, and I deserve this moment. Kendrick shows here exactly why he had to play Not Like Us, and he used Not Like Us as the catapult to the revolution. And how he describes himself here, it goes unnoticed. He says, I'm sliding through the back. It reminds me of the Django Unchained character. Like that he's going against all the rules and ready to take freedom in his own hands and fight the powers that be. And that is technically, despite Drake suing and people complaining about the controversy of the song, I'm gonna play it. And metaphorically, that represents that despite the American game telling us to play within these confined lines, telling me what to do, I'm breaking the rules and I'm making my own game to achieve the freedom. I am gonna play Not Like Us. I am gonna play my GNX songs because that's the moment that I'm in right now. And he's back in the middle, if you notice, right when he starts playing this and gliding and sliding, he's back in the middle of the controller, right? In that open area where you glide, resembling freedom and rhythm. And he starts with Mustard on the beat, plays verse 1, which has most of the memorable like lines, right? We know now that he's gonna lead you to Certified Lover Boy and A minor. We know because verse 1 is where it's at. And something that goes unnoticed is I love the stylized ad-lib. And I know people like sometimes crack jokes at Kendrick's, you know, bebop, you know, like all his. I love the ad-libs. I think it's so smart, and I think it's just so interesting. You know, he does some of this ad-libbing to avoid some of the vulgarities in the song. But I just love that sometimes you gotta pop out and show Certified Boogeyman. I'm the one to up the skull. Walk him down whole time. I know we got some hoe. Like I just love the way he does that. I just thought it was dope. And then we get the Say Drake and the cheeky smile right into the camera. And this was the moment. What?
I believe this is the moment that this was Kendrick's favorite part of the song. He was way too happy when he looked into the camera. Oh. This was his favorite part of the performance. This was by far his favorite part of the performance. I ain't never seen nobody that happy to look at the camera. He was happy as hell. Say Drake. Oh, somebody go check on Drake.
Him saying, I'm not playing in your lines. I'm gonna sing the song. I'm gonna say Drake's name. And not only that, I'm gonna say it with a smile. Meaning, I see you, and I know you see me. And this could all be another metaphor for just the whole performance, right? About revolution. That y'all tried to confine me, but I'm not going to be confined. And I'm going to make this original. And I'm going to do something different. Whether y'all like it, don't like it, it doesn't matter. Then it goes into wop, 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 wop. I'm on tough. I love the ad-libs. And we know that the wop, 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 we know that these are lines that Drake specifically mentions in the lawsuit as lines that call for violence against Drake, as the lawsuit states it. So for him to just be so revolutionary, saying,
the wop, 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 wop. I'ma do my stuff. That's the that part, Drake. Come on, bruh. Lawsuits, man, them lawsuits almost make Drake, like I said, it's gonna discredit everything he say about anybody else.
I'm playing this. Then he waves. I don't know if you noticed, there's a wave, and you see Serena Williams with that C-walk. Holy, super petty, super like in your face. We all know Serena Williams was someone as like part of that rap battle on the way because she was mentioned in the song, and not like us where he says you better not speak on Serena. Based on Drake reportedly being her ex, and after they broke up, he poked fun at Serena and her husband in the past, and Serena being from Compton, Kendrick just bringing her back out here. It was just super petty. I love it.
No, it wasn't petty.
So great.
It wasn't petty. I'm ripping for my sister. It was petty, but at the same time, it ain't petty. You know what I'm saying?
Her dance was so nice. Like, she looked so dope doing those moves. And then we all know he ends with that TV off, which was a clear, insane ending. And he brings out Mustard. And what an honor to have the producer Mustard. He really brings him out multiple times, bringing him out on the biggest stage. It's so beautiful. And I think that's another way of Kendrick bringing people together. Saying, you know, this is about me, but it's also about y'all. It's also about all of us. In the video game at the end, you see, actually, if you notice, the performance starts to conclude with TV off and the yelling of Mustard. Great performance. But there's two sides of dancers on the floor. On this side and that side. And then you see them all in the middle run towards each other, coming to blows. Almost representing a fight, a revolution that finally comes to fruition. And if you notice, Kendrick kind of runs and gets out the way as they clash. As if he's the one calling for this. But then the dancers eventually come together to stomp and dance, and then they go back to their sides. That center stage representing that fight, that revolution. What a beautiful rendition of this. And then he ends with, he turns TV off, and apparently, you know, that game over in the audience. What I understand, that people are saying that it's actually people making the game.
Yeah, that's what I heard. The game over and the wrong way earlier in the performance, where I think they were made by people's phones, which is crazy. How in sync they had to be, and they part of the performance essentially. That's crazy.
Over, which was kind of dope. But also, what a great conclusion. Some people don't notice that final conclusion that he does it with that last line. Walk in New Orleans with the etiquette of LAL and Mustard. They acting bad, but somebody's got to do it. What a great line to conclude the performance in New Orleans and him being from LA to end with those lines. Kendrick, he's just a master. And the playing of GNX songs and Not Like Us was actually the right move here for Kendrick. I just want to say thank you, Kendrick. What an exceptional performance to bring to your.
But I agree with rap philosophy. Thank you, Kendrick. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was a statement. It was the right time, but the wrong guy. You feel me? I loved it. I know a lot of people didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't understand it, it probably wasn't for you. But a lot of people did understand it who aren't black. You feel me? So I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I love the fact that he chose that time to make a statement, which makes it the greatest Super Bowl performance of all time for me. Absolutely love it. Kendrick Lamar did his thing. Rap philosophy with the breakdown. Brocksocrazy with the reaction. It is what it is. Let's get it.